Hello.
Hi, hello again.
Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Oh, long time no speak.
I know. How was your little getaway, and was it relaxing?
Yeah, it was actually detox. And I'm in my mum's at the moment, so hence my background's a bit different. I'm thinking, will this suffice? Will this be okay?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just in my well, it's eventually going to be my office, but I have we have two pet snakes and a tegu, which is a lizard, and then I have a couple of boxes for like my desk. So it's just I just am kind of winging it right now. Yeah, because we just moved. So
Good to see you.
yeah, yes.
Have you lost weight?
Do you think so? It's very possible. Yeah, in my face. Yeah, I guess I've been well, I think that yeah, because I think at the time, when did we last speak? Last year, like
Yeah, about a year ago, November. This time last year, actually.
yeah, I've had a lot of growth since last year, like mentally and physically, and and I think just like with changing my eating habits, and then also my exercise has been different. So yeah.
Well done, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Feeling great.
Excellent. And did you say you've moved?
Yep. So I moved just about an hour away from where I was.
Right.
Yeah, so not too far from where I was, but I like the newness. I like it's a bigger city, like a bigger town. So I like that. There's more people. It takes longer to get places, but I like it. It's good. And I'm closer to my niece and my nieces and my nephew and my sisters. So that's nice.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it's been good.
So you're in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So so you moved from one city to another, is it, or one town to another?
Yep. And actually, so I grew up about an hour south of here, and I moved from an hour north of here. So I'm like right in the middle from like I grew up here, and then I was here, and now I'm in the middle of both.
Middle. So you're closer to your parents then, is it? Or...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, my dad is a little bit further away, but I'm closer to my mom now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's very good. That's good. That's good. There's some I think I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some construction outside. Hopefully it's not too loud. Can you hear it?
I heard something and I thought it was outside my house.
It's like a constant, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can barely hear anything.
Okay, I tried to put like a sound thing behind my computer, but hopefully it's okay.
So Sophia, you'll probably get an email from that company that was looking to.
I did.
You did?
Yep, yeah. I'm gonna actually talk with her tomorrow.
Right. So I emailed her whenever I asked you, and she got back to me today saying that she's been unwell and then she's going to contact you today. So
oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yep. That will bring to fruition something for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I got the email, and then she added her Calendly link. So we're going to meet tomorrow morning. I'm excited to talk about that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, brilliant. All good. So we were looking to do like an episode for January for Flow the Grow. What did you want to? Because I'm quite happy to freewheel it. I've got another Zoom at 5 o'clock, which is just under an hour my time. But I was just thinking that if you wanted to ask me anything or do a Q&A, any questions you want to ask me, scenarios, anything.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy to give the mindset perspective on it and why this person might be doing this. Really happy to freewheel it. And if you like it, great. If not, we can re-record another time. That's fine. I'm all for getting something good for the new year.
Awesome. Yeah, and I did write some things down because I was kind of thinking what I would want to ask you, and then also from the person who maybe like has some goals for the new year, or so I was kind of putting myself in a different mindset and trying to think about questions that would be good for to ask you. And I guess so I have a few here, and one of them is, how can we use 2021 to propel us forward into 2022?
Yeah. Oh, you're recording. Or when we
Yeah. Well, I just did, just in case. Like, I kind of learned I like to just record because then I can use whatever.
Yes.
I could go through the questions that I have, and then we can find a different time to record, or I can like stop it, we talk, and then we can re-record, or
Yeah.
whatever.
I read your mind. Yeah, let's do it. Should we?
Just like right now, keep recording.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, because I can like edit whatever, but yeah, we can just do that.
Yeah. So do you want to answer that question?
Yes. So,
Okay.
re-ask it again.
Yeah.
Okay. So how can we use 2021 to propel us forward into 2022?
Yeah. I mean, a good way really is to, Sophia, that's a great question, is to spend about half an hour with a notebook and just to think about, what did you learn during 2021? What happened that was good? What happened that was bad, or you considered to be bad? Where did you think you went wrong? Where do you think you went right? Who did you find out served you as a real friend, encouragement, support, and who didn't? And if you just ask yourself these sort of questions over a half an hour period, it may last a bit longer, and you start then looking at different aspects and then use those learnings to distill down what works for you in your life, and then take them into 2022. That's the first thing I would do. And the second thing I would do is to create 12-month goals for 2022. So without thinking about New Year's resolutions, because we all do it, to think about, right, what would I like to have achieved by December of this year, 2022? What would I like to achieve by November, October? So you're working backwards, and then it gives you a roadmap on how you can, for want of a better word, attack 2022 with energy, drive, motivation, and conviction, and self-belief. So I think if you do those two things, at least you're straight on the rails and you are moving forward straight off the bat.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Like just going through, and so would you say starting with not in January, but actually December of 2022, and then working backwards what we would like to accomplish, or starting with January and then going forward that way?
You can do it both ways.
Yeah.
Whatever feels good. There's no hard and fast way really to find out what suits the individual. So somebody might think, right, okay, I've got one goal to do this year. I'm going to do that goal. It could be to set up a business by the end of the year, or it could be that I want to transform my body so I can run the marathon in October. So just pick a goal or set of goals. It could be a body goal, business, relationship, health, or it could be all of them, and then just map it out. But what really involves during this month of January is to actually put into place, number one, what worked for you last year, so you know you can continue with that. And number two, what would you like to achieve this year? So you're reflecting, and then you're structuring this year according to how you want it. And it's a great month. January is a great month to do that. You don't have to do it before. You can just do it straight off the bat.
Great. Awesome. And what about what was my question? Like, what if I didn't accomplish what I wanted to in 2021? So I'm kind of self-sabotaging myself, and I'm kind of getting down on myself for that. What would be the thought process that I could kind of implement, and then things I can do moving forward to kind of get myself out of that?
Okay. So one of the things you can do is, I just mentioned earlier on, you can sit down and you can write what worked for you, what didn't work for you. Because often we criticize ourselves. We got this inner voice, which is our inner critic, and it self-sabotages any future progress because it's telling you that, oh, you didn't start that store, open that store you wanted to, or you didn't find the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams, or you didn't get that body into shape. So it focuses on what you didn't do. What you can do is get a piece of paper and write down, what did you do last year? What did you achieve? And I remember one of my mentors mentioned this years ago. Can you write down what workshops, what you achieved during that August to December of that year? That was back in 2018, I believe. And I hadn't realized how much I'd done and achieved. And when I wrote it all out or typed it all out, it was like a game changer for me to see how much I'd achieved in those months. And that itself will then bat away any negative thoughts, because you will find out you've actually achieved more than you thought you did. And then sometimes we don't achieve what we want to do in a given time frame. But if we put pressure on ourselves, it can cause us to then self-sabotage moving forward, because we start having negative thoughts like, I'm not good enough, or everybody else seems to be achieving, but I'm not. But the whole thing is that the universe will give you what you want, but it'll give you in good time. Everybody's different. That's the first thing I would think about. Second thing is I would sit down with someone that you trust and have a chat with them and tell them your concerns. Because when we get it out of our head, we're talking to someone and we're airing it, and they can see it, and as we're saying it, they can then, if they know our history over that last year, they can say, well, actually you did this, and you did that, and you achieved this. Things that you might not remember because you're in it. And when you're in it, it's difficult to see, because often we don't track our progress and our movements. That's why I always tell people, keep a journal, or maybe keep a diary and just record stuff as you go along, because that's going to help you. And that person then will help you then see more of what you're missing. And as a result, Sophia, you start to feel better. And the negative inner voice starts to dampen down, because it's got nothing to fight. It can't fight you because you've already flipped the switch.
Yeah, those are so powerful. So the first one that you said about just writing down, reflecting on all the things that we have accomplished. I try and do that too, even now. Like, I find myself in the day being like, oh my gosh, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done more. But then I kind of reel it in and I think about the things that I did do, because those things are still propelling me forward into whatever goal it is that I'm trying to do. And so then I start to feel a little bit better. But I think that's a good tool to use too for anything in life, for the past year, the past month, like just sitting down and thinking about what we did do well and what we did accomplish. And then also, like you said, asking someone who isn't ourselves. We can find someone on the outside who can reflect on and tell us what they saw that we accomplished. And that can be a game changer for our minds, I feel like, and our thinking. So that's really good advice. That's really good advice right there. I love it. And I still think about our first conversation, the first episode that we did. I think about that rear view mirror too. And I think that's something that someone can implement, is like not necessary. Like, you can look at your past and reflect on the good, but don't look in the past for the things that you could have done better or wish you could have done, because that's just looking in the past instead of like eyes looking forward. So I think about that almost every day since the last time we talked.
Fantastic. And I just wanted to add to that, really, that often we put pressure on ourselves, especially at this time in history, in human history, because of things like, say, social media. We're able to see what other people are doing, and we're able to see all these adverts or these groups or these people doing well, and then we might measure ourselves against them, and that then can cause us to feel even worse. But I'm a huge believer that everyone is on their own journey, and it's something that I wrote about. And it's something, it's like a power statement. If you can write it on a post-it note, you just write down, everyone is on their own journey. And for me, that was a game changer, because we're the only person we're up against is us, no one else. So everyone else, we don't know their story. We don't know how hard they've been trying. We don't know what help they've had. We don't know the troubles, tribulations. We don't know their challenges. we know ours, but everyone's different, and it's the race is for us to run our own race. Because if, back to the car analogy, if you can imagine you're driving your life, you've got control of the steering wheel. But if you're spending an overly amount of time staring at the next person in the next car, their life, you're taking your eyes off the road. And what's going to happen if your eyes are off the road and you're too busy staring at them? You're going to crash. So the lesson to that, to myself, was, to think about, okay, keep on your own journey, on your own race. And I look back in my life. I have to look back in my own life, and I'm thinking, every time I've done that, I've succeeded. I remember when I was sitting my professional exams as an optometrist over two and a half decades ago, and people had passed the exam before me. They passed the exam before me, and I was distraught. I was so unhappy and distraught. And what happened was, I completed my exams and I passed them about 6 months later. And I then accelerated. I had the car, the apartment, and people just couldn't believe it. So it didn't matter that I was further down the line after them, So that was just one example of where the race is for you. That's your personal race with yourself. And the only person who's going to stop you is you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we do compare ourselves. And that was one thing I think you really touched on, it is because I was going to ask about when we compare ourselves. And I think social media plays a role. And then we're always kind of self-sabotaging and comparing ourselves to someone else's journey. But really, like, one goal that I had for 2021, I might have mentioned it to you, I don't remember, but it was just to really keep my eyes forward on my own path, like the own road that I'm taking, keep my eyes on that instead of looking at other people's journeys and their paths, because they're completely different. We all have different experiences. And I think that timing wise, like, we just got to trust the universe. We just got to trust that we are where we're meant to be and we're learning things along the way. And so would you say that when someone self-sabotages a lot, whether it's in the new year or like just in general, what would be one or two things that you could tell that person that they could do, think about, so that way they can talk themselves out of those self-sabotaging times?
Yeah. And self-sabotage is when really it's related to this inner voice, which is related to your own self-confidence, your self-esteem, and what you think about yourself, your self-image. So what I would say is, self-sabotage, the more someone doesn't trust themselves, the more someone has a self-confidence issue or self-esteem, a self-worth issue, the more they will then stop themselves from succeeding. And one way of looking at it is, every single day you can just look yourself in the mirror. And some people find it very difficult to look in the mirror for even 5 minutes. Put a nice song in the background that empowers you, and just say these three things: I love you, I value you, I respect you. I love you, I value you, I respect you. And to look in the mirror, because we're not, unfortunately, some people define their success to the extent where it affects their happiness. So if they're not up there in terms of success, they're not happy. Whereas they've got it all, they've got a place, they've got a roof over their head, they've got a nice relationship, they're physically very healthy, but they're still not happy. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is to get to your place of happiness, to get to your place where you actually have self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence. And confidence comes from the Latin word confidere, to have faith in yourself. So if somebody's got low faith with themselves, it means they've got low confidence. That's how it works. If they've got high confidence, they're highly unlikely to self-sabotage unless there's a fear involved, a fear of something happening. Some people have a fear, for example, of fear of success, a fear of being successful, because if they're successful, they might then stand out above the crowd, or their friends may not like them anymore. They won't fit in. and they don't want to do that. So on one hand, they want to be successful, but on the other hand, they want to be liked as well by their friends. So which one's more important? And as a consequence, Sophia, they start to self-sabotage without even knowing it. So self-sabotage, it really depends on the reason you're self-sabotaging. And so again, I'm a big believer in sit down and write down why you think you're self-sabotaging. What's the story you're telling yourself that's causing you to put the brake on your car when you're pressing the accelerator to go forward, but your other foot's on the brake. So therefore, you're not going anywhere. And as a result, you're not getting the results you want. And there's so many reasons why people self-sabotage. But I would go for work on yourself. Your inner self will reflect and determine your outer results, not the other way around.
Right. And what's the power of writing things down? Because what if someone's like, well, I'll just think about it, or like they don't take pen to paper, but what is the value in taking pen to paper and writing it down?
Yeah. Well, thinking has got you into that state in the first place. So if somebody's an overthinker or they're self-sabotaging, it's the thinking that's doing it in the first place. So as Einstein said, to paraphrase Einstein, he said that the level of thinking that got you into the problem in the first place will not be the level of thinking that's going to get you out. So when you are with your pen and your paper, you're going to a different level of thinking. You're pausing, you allow yourself to reflect and pause. And by the physical action of a pen, so you're taking a pen and you're physically writing it down, and you're pausing, you're thinking, maybe you're looking up, again, you're writing, you're thinking, you're pausing, you allow yourself to reflect. Whereas if you try and just think yourself out of it, I think everybody will be able to do that, and there will be no self-sabotage. You'll just be able to do it on the fly. So it's much more powerful, I can add, than say typing into a phone or typing into a computer. I'm a big fan of writing, pausing, because that's the way we were taught when we grew up, to read and write. So our brain has learned to do it and pause. And science is looking at, is there a part of your brain, I think it's called Broca's area, which lights up every time you use a pen and paper as opposed to typing something out. So yeah, it's more a case that it's a physical interaction, you're pausing and you're reflecting, and then the level of thinking changes and it goes deeper than if you're just sitting there. Because if you just sit there and just try and think it out, you've got the potential to overthink and then start worrying as a result.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we don't realize that deeper like meaning or reasoning of how it can help until maybe we do it more and more. And like I know for me, when I start writing things down, I'll think about things, and when I write things down, more and more will come out. Like more and more will come out from my thoughts and onto paper when I start doing that versus just thinking about things.
Yes, you give a chance. You literally open Aladdin's cave and you give a chance to get all the gold that's in there, and you unlock it, that's why it's so powerful. And it's great if you just sit there and do it with people around you. I mean, I love to do it in a coffee shop, so I love the energy of the people around me. And some people say, well, yeah, some people say they love that. Other people say, no, I need a quiet room. Just do whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Whatever works for a person. If you're a quiet person, you can't think when people are around, then go to a quiet place. Some people do in the car. When they're parked up somewhere, they just journal in the car. It's fine. Whatever's going to get the gold out your head and allow you to grow as a person.
Yeah, for sure. What would be, so like when it's 2022 and maybe I'm someone like I have a family, it was a lot of stress from the holidays and food and gifts and money financially and all of that. What would be things that I could do to kind of reset my mind before I go into trying to set goals for myself? What would you recommend?
So can you clarify the question?
So if someone is coming out of the holidays and they're just a lot of stress, they ate a lot of food, they're kind of overwhelmed, what would be a couple things that would help the mind like reset to de-stress before I go into my planning process of 2022?
Yeah, but the first thing is, I mean, when you've got family, you come out the holiday season, it's chaos, organized chaos that you're coming out of. I mean, the first thing is if you can get some time by yourself, because the first thing your mind needs to do is if you want to, before you organize your goals, you need that time, that space to be able you need to be able to afford that space for yourself and be in a place. You simply can't write your goals with two kids hanging around your ankles and the TV on and wondering where the next meal is to come from. And I always say, just start with some me time. Maybe go for a walk, go somewhere. There's always a chance for you to have some me time. Maybe run a bath. Some people say I can't run a bath. I've got kids. There's always an answer. There's always a time of the day where you can get some space and just reflect in a moment of silence. And I love to go. For me, I love to go on walks. I love to be in nature. That's a great place where you can just appreciate from a point of gratitude that actually life is good. We've got trees, the birds, we've got parks, we've got the sea. There are many times where we just miss what's going on around us. So when we're in a state of gratitude, when we're in that state where we're actually feeling life, it's like, imagine like the horse has blinkers. We've got blinkers. And then when we look through the eyes of gratitude, it's like suddenly we can see what's around us, and what was black and white now becomes color. And suddenly we're seeing more of what's around us. And at that point, when we live from a point of gratitude, we get more clarity, we feel more love for what's around us and for us. And then our inner voice, our inner critic starts to calm down, and we start to make more sense. That's what I would do. Take some time out. And get some clarity on what you want. Another way to do that is, if you can at the time or any time, is to meditate, which is to actually sit there in silence. If not silence, put a track on, a meditation track from YouTube or something you can find on Amazon, and play that just to get some clarity, because it's all about getting out of the chaos that time. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I think definitely the meditating part and just finding some quiet and just time with yourself, and then also like going out in nature. I know for me that always it does bring out a sense of gratitude, and just thinking about all that I do have all that I am grateful for. And yeah, that always helps to like just kind of calm, de-stress, and then like take my next step moving forward. Have you ever done visualization stuff like manifestation, visualization? Can you talk more about like maybe how that's helped you, how that could help someone in their 2022 and all of that?
Yeah, of course. Visualization is very powerful. I remember I went on this outdoor pursuit. It was like an outdoor pursuit sort of holiday area, and there were these climbing walls you had to climb up. And I'm scared of heights, and I just could not get to the top of this wall. And I just remember standing there, and it was sort of cold outside, and it was one of these outdoor walls. It was a man-made wall. And I thought, how am I going to get to the top of that? I failed several times. And I was watching people try it and succeed, and other people fail to get to the top. And I remember that I looked at all the places where you can hang on, and I was visualizing myself hanging on and climbing the wall, almost like a monkey, like that. And I was just staring at the wall, and I was visualizing actually succeeding, getting to the top. And then when it was my turn to do the actual climb, and people, obviously everyone was watching, I did it in one go. And it was just literally as if the universe had mapped out where to hold, where to put my foot, and I got to the top in one go. I always remember that. It was one of the first times I'd ever visualized in real time, Sophia, and then it happening straight away in real time, then happening. So that's the power of visualization. When you can visualize something and add emotion to it. I think what most people don't do is they visualize something, they don't add any emotion to it. You want to add emotion to it. Another time I was visualizing, I wanted to move to a new place because my son at the time was about 6 or 7 months old as a baby, and I was just tired taking him up to my apartment, and I started inadvertently visualizing walking into a house. So if I open the door, it's actually in my house rather than up some stairs to an apartment. And that's what I started doing, thinking about, right, what would it be like to walk into my own place instead of opening the door which opens into a building and going up some steps to open, finally get to the top, because mine was a top floor apartment. There was no lift, up to the top at that time. So I was visualizing, thinking about it emotionally. What's the feeling of going into my own home? And then literally within the year, there was a brand new street of townhouses being made, not far from where I was actually living. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible because the area was right by the ocean, and all it had was apartments. There were no houses, because why would they be able to build houses? Because it's economically, economically, it's better to build apartments. But they built these townhouses. I couldn't believe it in the area where I was living. And needless to say, I moved into one within a year after that. But that was like the power of visualization married up with the power of manifestation. So one manifested the other. It's all a case of really being that energy, visualizing exactly what you want, and then believing it, but also emotionally becoming not attached to it in a needy way, but almost, yeah, I'm accepting this. This is what I would love. This is my desire, and this is what I'm going to accept. But we don't know. No one knows how long it takes for it to happen. That's the thing. How long does this take for this to happen? The more needy you are, the longer it'll take. That's my belief. More needy. The less needy you are, have you noticed when you don't really, you just let something sort of drift, leave it go, it seems to come to you quicker than when you're just thinking about it, or checking those emails, or when's this person going to text me, hurry up, or when I put a proposal out, I think they haven't got back to me yet. And the more we do that, the less we manifest it in good time. So visualization is really powerful. I've been teaching it for years to clients. I remember one client, this is years ago, she had a problem, actually, Sophia. She had a problem with agoraphobia. That's the fear of going outside the door. And her husband had been nagging her for years. She wanted to go away, but he was desperate to go away on holiday and vacation. But she just wouldn't leave the house. So I taught her to visualize being on a ship, being on a cruise, enjoying herself. And within 6 months, she was on a cruise. Now,
love that.
she hadn't been outside the house for years. And she actually went on this sort of huge Caribbean cruise, really enjoyed herself because she was visualizing. She was just basically doing what I said. I said, do this, this, and this. Visualize, put emotion into it, and she just did it, and she was away. Because I remember her texting me saying, David, I'm off on a cruise. We're off on a cruise on Monday. I thought, wow. But yes, it works. It does work, visualization. Something that I'm sure that you've experienced too.
Yeah, it is 100%. I do it in my day-to-day, but then also I'll do it like in my meditation for just things I want to accomplish within the year or even years later. I don't really put a timeline on it. I just visualize me succeeding at the thing. And I really embody how I feel when I succeed at it or during it, whatever it is. Like I embody how I feel. I visualize myself doing that thing with no attachment of when it's going to happen. And like you said, like not being needy with knowing when it's going to happen, just kind of letting it go. But I think it's important to take action towards that thing that you're wanting to be successful at. What, you know, whether it's just visualizing the emotion, the feeling through it, but also the day-to-day things that you can do that's going to help manifest that thing, no matter how long it's going to take. And day to day, so for example, before I do a podcast interview, I will just sit with myself and close my eyes and meditate, and I'll visualize how I want the interview to go, how I want to feel through it. And then afterwards, just like having this excitement, energy, and yeah. And then almost 10 out of 10, that's exactly what happens. And actually, there was one time during the holidays when I was going to be going to a family get together, and there was going to be a lot of food. And during that time, I was doing like some sort of plant-based cleanse and wanting to just kind of control my food more during the holidays. So I decided to do that. But that morning, I wrote down kind of my game plan for what I was going to do, because I was going to go to this big family gathering. There's going to be all this food. And so not only did I write it down, but I visualized every step of the way of when I go to the house, what I wanted to do and feel like, getting my food, how much of things I was going to take, allowing myself to have food and not restrict, but not having too much. And then the exact placement of where I was going to sit at the table, and going through how I felt eating it, enjoying it, slowing down, enjoying family. And when I went to actually go to the family gathering, literally everything I visualized happened, even to the point of exactly where I sat down without even really realizing it. Because then I was sitting down eating and I'm like, this is where I visualized where I was going to sit. So it's kind of like it just kind of happened. So yeah, I think it's something that we can implement with anything in life, but I think it's very important with anything that we want to accomplish with a goal, or maybe it's a fear that we have, and then visualizing us doing that to get past that. But I think visualization and manifestation is a powerful thing that if more people were open to it, I think it would be just life-changing for people.
Yes, I remember years ago somebody said to me, visualize, don't advertise.
I like that.
Visualize, don't advertise.
Yeah. So what do you mean by the advertising part?
Well, she said she never advertised. She was always busy. And she said, David, don't bother advertising, because a lot of people advertise, obviously on YouTube, Instagram ads and Facebook ads. And there's a lot of people most people don't make any money out of it. That's a fact when they advertise. So she was saying visualize, not advertise. And she said that works for her. I always remember that. That was back from 2009, 2010. And it is very true. When you can visualize something happening, then you can achieve the what seems to be impossible. But you need to do work. A lot of people out there think that, okay, I can visualize and do nothing and it's going to happen. Well, no, it doesn't strictly work that way. You've still got to do some work. You've still got to show up every day, and you've still got to say no to the wrong people and yes to the right people.
Yep.
It's a mindset process, 100%.
Yep.
That visualization is part of it. It's the powerful tool, but what's around it is so necessary. That you've got to be authentic to yourself. You've got to be respectful to yourself, because the inner voice, how you speak to yourself, is so important. So if you're wanting this goal, but you are self-sabotaging yourself and talking rubbish to yourself, you're never going to get what you want, because you're counteracting what you actually, you're in dissonance, they call it. Psychologists call it dissonance, with cognitive dissonance with what you really want. So it's a case of having integrity and focus on what you want and getting your level of energy up to that same vibration as your particular goal.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
manifestation
very
is all about.
important. Yeah, to like do all the work around that to support that vision and the manifestation to help like get you there.
Yes.
So then this question came to mind: what could be things, or even things that you do throughout the year? So like if it's the new year, what are things throughout the year that we can do to continue to keep a solid mindset and to keep working towards the goals that we have?
Yeah, you can do a million things. The first thing is when you wake up in the morning, start with an attitude of gratitude every single day. Every single day, start and finish with an attitude of gratitude, and continue through the day, which is really feel alive, because we're alive. We're alive through our five senses, obviously, but also we're alive through our intuition. So, harvest your intuition and use that. So I would say attitude of gratitude is the first thing, which you have to do, because it's you saying, acknowledging to the universe what's out there, that I'm really happy, I'm lucky, no matter where you are. As Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, he was in a concentration camp, and he was basically saying that you can take away everything, but you can't take away my thoughts. You will not. I refuse and reject negative thinking, and that's exactly how I feel. I refuse to be around negative thinkers. Just refuse. And reject their thinking as well. So I don't watch the news. So the next thing is, don't watch the news. To anyone, somebody will tell you what's on the news. That's fine, but don't sit there and watch the news. You're wasting your time. The next thing is exercise. Always exercise. You can do something. Everyone's got the ability to do something, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. Just do something. Get the body moving. You're obviously in the fitness game. You know what I'm talking about. But since I was a kid, energy matters. So our mind is energy, our body's energy. So why aren't we moving? So, for example, normally I'm in my mum's at the moment. Normally, I'm on a taller desk, so I'm standing up when I'm doing a Zoom like this. So we can stand up, and your energy is different when you're standing up as opposed to sitting down. So keep your body moving every day. The next thing is focus on who you are building relationships with. It's so important to have those relationships around you, your friends, your family, your loved ones. Who's going to support and encourage you? You soon find out when the SHIT hits the fan, who's there for you. So you've just got to literally make sure that it's in place. That core solid people who are there for you, and you're there for them, conversely as well, at any time. So that's important, that your network is so important when you want to achieve your goals. The next thing is make yourself accountable to someone. So talk to someone and say, listen, I want to achieve this goal by, say, July. I'm going to have to do this every month and this every week. I'm going to email you, or I'm going to text you when I've done it. So you're making yourself accountable. Now, science has found out that you are 80% more successful if you're accountable, which is a game changer. So you are texting someone. I've got a goal I'm looking at the moment, so I'm every day texting that person my achievement. That's on a personal level. So I do that now, and I continue to do that. So it's so important that we do that continuously, so we make ourselves accountable. The next thing I would say is every single day, write down the 5 wins of that day. So the 5 wins, this is based on the Harvard theory, the 5-win theory of, at the end of every day, just look at 5 wins for that day. So it could be, I heard a great song on the radio, I had a wonderful text message from a friend, I had a nice sandwich for lunch, and so on. Just 5 things, 5 simple things that happened that day. And at the end of every month, look at your journal, and you'll see about 150 of these things that went well for you that month. It's like, wow, what a great month. Because instead of looking at what went wrong, what didn't I do right, it's like, I did this, and I did this. This is amazing. So it then flips that switch on, of the positive switch on, because our brain is hardwired for negativity. That's why some people find it so easy to be negative. It's very easy, because our brain is scared. It's there to protect us. It's trying its best to keep us protected, but unfortunately it does too good a job. Therefore, we live in fear when we shouldn't really live in fear at certain times. Of course, it's good to have an appropriate fear, like when you're crossing the road, you want to look right and left so you don't get run down. You know, if somebody says that's poison, you don't want to drink it. Okay, but there are most of the time when we're scared, it's an irrational fear. You know, fear of not being liked, or fear of what are people saying, or fear of going into a cafe to have a coffee, or people are going to be looking at me. All those are irrational fears at the end of the day. So those are some of the things on the top of my head, Sophia.
I love that. Yes, those are like, and every time you're just like, yeah, or every time you said something, I'm just like, yes, that is huge. And those are things like with the accountability, I think that's huge. Like we are a lot more likely to just give up on ourselves unless we have someone that we're being held accountable to. And same thing with the exercise, getting our bodies moving. And I think those are great things that people can keep in mind. And they're pretty simple. You know, it's keep it simple. You can either do all of those or maybe choose one to start with. And then once you got that down, it's a habit, maybe implement the second one and then keep going, adding things to your day. And then also, I think keeping in mind, like you said, surrounding ourselves with the right people. I think with that, it's also what we listen to, what we read, like being intentional about listening to different things that can educate us or grow us in some way. I think that's huge too. That can help.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's good.
You mentioned they're all simple. Yeah, absolutely. Because in life, the best things are all simple. We seem to complicate it, and we seem to be searching for the app that's going to make us happy these days, or the you know the app that's going to get our fitness. But at the end of the day, it's really, if you improve your life by 1% every day, what's going to happen in 100 days? 100%.
Yes.
You know, if you say to someone, listen, you can change 100%, they'll say to you, well, that's a tall order. If you do 1% every day, it'll compound to 100% in 100 days. It's a fantastic way of looking at life. And
yes.
I'm all for that. Keep it simple. There's that the KISS, they call it the KISS principle, isn't it? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's so many things in life are simple, but people just don't seem to do them. And hopefully people will be watching this or listening to this and just write down the list of things that we've gone through and just pick one, as you say, pick one and run with it. If it's meditation or journaling or exercise, just do it. And what I would say to everyone out there is, instead of you just writing down and forgetting about it, perhaps get some post-it notes and put these on post-it notes and put them on your room, and then pick one every day. Just give yourself like a buffet. So it's like a buffet, a menu every morning. Right, today I'm going to journal, or today I'm going to meditate.
Oh, I love that.
You like that?
Yeah.
That's what I teach my clients, to do that. And then today I'm going to be looking at the 5 wins. So you never forget it. So you're on the ball all the time. You're in the game. It helps you stay in the game, because we can read a book and we'll remember 5-10% of it. We really enjoyed it. But in a month's time, we've forgotten a lot of the tools and stuff in there. And then we read another book with the similar tools, you know. But at the end of the day, it is practice. Like a doctor practices medicine, a lawyer practices law. We're here practicing life.
Yes.
We've got lots of tools to do it.
I love that. And having the mindset that everything is just a practice, whether we're working on a specific habit or our mindset, like it is a practice, we are practicing for life. And I really love the idea of having sticky notes, but like as options on a mirror or wherever you can see it every day. You have these options that you can see every day, and then you just pick one or maybe 2. But I've never thought about that. I've put up little writings on my mirror or with the post-it notes, 1 or 2, but I've never thought about just having a line of different options that you can pick from. And it kind of makes it fun. Like, then it's like, what am I going to challenge myself to work on today? What am I going to practice today? Let's go with this one.
Yes. When you do that, take a photo and tag me on Instagram.
Yes. Write that. And also I don't know why, maybe you have an idea why we tend to complicate or overthink things, because like these things are simple, and like within the health and fitness worlds too, it's like just drink more water, have more fruit and vegetables, have more exercise or more movement. Like it really is that simple, but we tend to find the hardness in things. And I don't know if it's because the mind is wired for negativity, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. We're a lot of people are procrastinators, so they will just procrastinate of what's good for them. That's one reason. Another reason is distraction. Very easily distracted by what's going on around us. So somebody might be trying a certain type of pizza. You know it's not good for you, but you're going to try it. So we're distracted by adverts on TV. So that distracts us. We're distracted by Netflix, things like that. I mean, I love Netflix, but what we're going to do is we've got to look at making a decision, what do you want to achieve, and then the discipline around it. Discipline is like the wrapper around the action you're going to take. So discipline is when you give yourself a command and you follow it. So when we don't, we know what's good for us, but we don't do it because of bad habits. We haven't become habitual, and to change your habit takes approximately 60 to 100 days to change a habit. So every day, for example, I tend to exercise in the morning. So 5 days a week, I'll go running. And if I'm not running, I'll be power walking. I'll do something. And then the other 2 days, I'll do something light, even light, but I will do something between usually about 6 days a week, something. And I might have a day off then. But it's all about, I know it's good for me and I like it. I now like it. I've always liked it, and it's fresh air, even if it's raining, and you can think and you can say affirmations, incantations when you're running, and you can plan out your day. So I'm really multitasking while I'm running. So I'm having a great conversation. And if I have a negative thought, Sophia, I'll just say cancel. I'll just delete it. And that takes time. It's practice, because we're never done. We'll never be the perfect human being. What we can do is stay on track, and we will come off. I come off the rails. We all come off the rails. Get back up. The more you practice, the faster you get back on track. The faster you're back, you've got the steering wheel of the car of your life. So I'm all for maintenance, and this is maintenance. As Simon Cowell once said, "Maintenance, darling, maintenance." And it's all about maintenance. Is maintaining your body, maintaining your mindset, maintaining your health set, looking at your food, what you're eating, food choices. Mine's not perfect by an interesting means. And if I have a bad day where I've had too much chocolate, then I won't eat chocolate for the next 4 or 5 days at least, just to get it out of my system. But the thing is, don't beat yourself up about it. Just forgive yourself, which is the ultimate letting go. Forgive yourself. We talked about it before, and then move on. That's the best thing you can do, is to forgive yourself and then move on.
Yep. And I really I wrote this note down because I liked how you said to just cancel, delete a negative thought. So I think that's something that someone can keep in mind. And I'm going to try and do is, when a negative thought starts to come in, I start to say it, I can become aware of that. I recognize it. And then just like when you said that, I pictured the delete button on a keyboard. So it's like delete, click, move it out, cancel it. So I like that.
When you're the little, we call it bin, garbage bin.
Mm-hmm.
Clicking that, and it goes.
Mm-hmm.
All goes in there. But now I got to the point where I can just say cancel. And it just does it.
Yes.
Yep. But then you have to then think of something that's the opposite of what you just thought.
Mm-hmm.
Or an empowering thought. And it does take practice.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if anybody out there is learning to swim, you'll know that it takes practice before you become good at swimming.
Yep.
So this is all about practicing. That's the lesson there, really.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. So last time we talked, you had written a book and that was coming out. Is there anything else that you're working towards that people can go to or look out for?
Yeah, they can obviously look up the book, and I've also started the David Rahman Mindset Academy. So if they just go to my website, david-rahman.com, I've got a Mindset Academy, and in there are all my mindset programs all under one roof, so they can just access that on a monthly subscription. Really easy if they want to help themselves.
Nice. Love that. That's awesome. That'll be cool to look at. That's really all I don't know, that was really good. I was taking notes as we were talking, so I hope other people were taking notes through that, or maybe re-listen to this so they can retain more, because I think that every time we listen to something we miss things, and we listen to it again, and then we can pick out things that we didn't even really hear the last time. So this would definitely be an episode for people to go back, listen to it 2 times, 3 times, whatever it is. So yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to share, or had questions for me, or anything else that you wanted to touch on?
No, I think we touched on quite a bit, actually.
Mm-hmm. We did.
If anybody out there has any questions, just jump onto my website and email me. I'm quite happy to answer questions. But really, there's a lot there for people to think about, hopefully.
Yes, and I'll definitely link that in the show notes, and then your Instagram, you're always sharing awesome stuff on there. So yeah, we'll just go from there. Cool. Well, thanks again. And shall I end the recording and stay on? Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, cool. Brilliant. All right. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Stop.